So, in my Flow with Tarot segment, the other day we talked about the Six of Pentacles card. And what came up at the time was how, when we talk about settling and not settling, we often talk about it's heavily focused on what we allow ourselves to receive. Yet with that Six of Pentacles card at the time, it felt as though we were being reminded to not settle, not just in what we receive, but what we extend our energy to, what we give. Okay? And just settling in general, I have been thinking about that since the other day. Talking about that card, it's been really on me. So I'm just going to flow in this particular Magic in Motion impromptu video as I drive, which is probably not the best thing. But anyway, don't judge me. How did we get to the point of just sitting in things that we don't like, tolerating things and people that we no longer want to tolerate, tolerating situations that we know that we have outgrown? How did we get to the point where we do that to ourselves? How did we get to the point where we tell ourselves, we lie to ourselves about what it is that we actually desire? And I have some ideas about that. I think one of the main reasons why we allow ourselves to settle for things that we've outgrown, one of the reasons why we allow ourselves to tolerate situations that we've outgrown, is because our focus becomes too much of, well, no one around me is doing things differently. I've never seen anyone around me live another way. So therefore, I have to tolerate this situation that I'm in. People get comfortable. We've allowed ourselves to get comfortable in discomfort. And even that, to be comfortable in discomfort, that in itself can be its own topic, because that in itself is layered. But when we're settling in situations that we know we have outgrown, we talk ourselves out of elevating because we allow our ego to say, well, how there is no way to get out of this. We start to overanalyze, well, how are you going to get out of it? How are you going to move beyond where you're at now? How are you going to do things differently? And what makes you think that you can do things differently? What makes you think that you can live, that you can exist differently, different than what you've seen people in your family do? What makes you think that you're going to do that? And then if you do it, how are you going to be received by everyone else? See, the ego just throws all of that's over analyzing, is what that is. And we allow that to take place so much to the point where we do just sit in something that we know that has to change and that we can actually change it. Settling becomes a part of our identity. And again, let me go back to the part where we lie to ourselves about what it is we actually desire. Because you can daydream, you can imagine, but then you have to ask yourself, do I believe that I deserve a different life? So for example, let's say, and I always use this example because it's so easy to illustrate. Let's say that your desire really is to travel the world. You have a home base, but ultimately you want to travel the world. You want to be able to be in one space, one country, 3 months, another country, 2 months, maybe go back to your home base, chill for a minute, but then check out again. Now you're in another new country. And that's how you see yourself living your life, with time freedom, with location freedom. But yet, you've never seen anyone in your community live like that. And then because of that, then you say, well, maybe I'll just, plan a few trips here and there. Knowing that that's not what you want to do. That is still settling. And you may be lying to yourself saying, well, it's still traveling. Well, yeah, it is. But it is not the type of travel that you truly desire. So then you lie to yourself and you say, well, yeah, maybe I'll just keep traveling like this. It's not really what I want. In the back of your mind, you're saying, this is not really what I want. But because I don't see how I can be a true nomad, I don't really see how I can have the resources that I need in overflow and be a nomad. So I'm just going to keep this job, have my home base, put in for PTO when I can, and then, I'll just take my little vacations here and there. When it's in your heart that you want to be a nomad. And instead of you saying, well, taking the time within yourself to say, okay, but what would this really look like as a nomad? As living in different places throughout the year. What does that actually look like? And what does that actually feel like? What does that feel like right now? And you start to explore that. Forget about the how. And maybe this is the tip that I want to leave you. Forget about the how. And focus on, with your desire, focus on what it would actually look like. Write it down. That's part of being magical. That is magic in motion. Write it down. Write it out. And let that be your start. Don't start with the how. Start with, what does my desire actually look like?